Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So about a month or so ago, I got to fulfill my biggest dream ever as a photographer, which is to photograph my team Benfica playing at home at a Champions League game, no less, against Barcelona. But my main goal has always been to photograph my team. It really didn't matter against who, for what competition, so that was like my highest mountain to climb possible. And I got to fulfill that dream. Now, we as photographers, we're human beings as well, so all of us, or most of us, will have a club that we follow and that we like, and that's absolutely fine as long as when we're photographing we can just switch and leave the fan home. We need to be impartial, we need to be ethical, we need to work and not let our fan side come out, if that makes any sense. So the fan stays home. Obviously, being at the stadium, when I finally got pitch side, I'm not, heartless. Of course, I get emotional inside when I hear the club's anthem, when I hear the crowd, 62,000 people screaming, when there's a goal, etc. But you leave that inside and you just do your job as you would in any game. Obviously, none of this happened overnight, to be able to be at that game. It takes years. You start from nothing, you start working in the minor leagues, amateur games, you move up the ladder slowly, you start building your portfolio, something that I'll probably make a video about in the future, the importance of having a portfolio. Because as you grow as a photographer, so does your portfolio, so you can start showing the work that you do. But we'll get to that in a different video. Very, very important that people understand, the ones especially wanting to start into sports photography, that your highest mountain, so your biggest objective, it may be, I don't know, photographing a Euro, photographing a World Cup, photographing a Champions League game, the Olympics, whatever it may be. Nothing is overnight, and it takes time. Some people will get there faster than others, but it's a lot of work, a lot of games, a lot of weekends away from home, a lot of kilometers, a lot of hours editing photos, etc. Slowly you get in there, but trust me, once you reach your mountain, so to speak, it is completely worth it. Now, talking about this game in particular, because it was in Portugal, obviously in Lisbon, and I live in Ireland, so it's not like I can just go on my car and be at the stadium in 30 minutes or 1 hour. The logistics was completely different, so I had to get up at 6 in the morning, drive 3 hours to Dublin, get on a plane, 2.5 hours to Lisbon, then go to the hotel, check in, go to the stadium, get the accreditation, photograph the match, and by the time I was back at the hotel, it was roughly midnight 30, and at 4 a.m. I was already at the airport again to catch the plane back to Dublin. So it was 24 hours that were extremely tiring, but there's a Portuguese saying, if you're running for love, you don't get tired. You get the idea, and that's exactly what happened. So yes, very physically tiring, but emotionally very, very rewarding. Speaking of the logistics as well, because I had to take a plane, I had to leave some of my gear behind because it wouldn't fit in the luggage. So make sure if you're flying to photograph a game, that your luggage complies with the dimensions that you can take inside the plane with you. The last thing you want is for you to get to the plane and say, no, that bag has to be checked. You don't want your gear to be checked in. You want to take it with you. So I had my normal roller case think tank where I had most of my gear, but the backpack I had to take a smaller one because I knew the one I usually use was too big and it would not fit in the seat in front of me. So I had to leave some accessories home that I would normally take with me, and one of the lenses as well. So the gear that I took was the R6 Mark II, both of them, the 400mm and the 7200. So only two lenses. I left the 16-35 home, and I left some of the accessories as home as well. Speaking of accessories, the stool that I normally use, which is a kitchen stool, is very, very low to the ground. It's not high enough, and I knew in these games they're gonna have those high publicity boards. So if I took that stool, I wouldn't be high enough to take pictures. So I took the foldable, extendable round stool that I have as well. So to be sure that if I needed it, I'd be high enough to be able to take pictures. Luckily, Benfica had chairs for the photographers, so I didn't actually have to use it. But in case I did, I was prepared. Now, knowing the stadium and knowing the club helps a lot too. Why? Because I know for a fact that Benfica likes to attack in the second half to a particular side. And I know that one of the sides, just by watching games, there's a tiny corner that does not have those publicity boards. So if I wanted to, because I was there early enough, I would be able to sit in one of those corners near the ground or on the grass, and I wouldn't have to worry about the publicity boards. But being that it was a Champions League game against Barcelona, no less, I knew that corner was going to be absolutely packed. And I wanted to enjoy the experience, and I didn't want to feel like a sardine in a can. So I went to the opposite corner, and I felt a lot more at ease. You know, plenty of space to each side, and I could enjoy the game, could enjoy the experience, photograph it the same way. Just a little bit more about the logistics. If you're planning to photograph a game where you have to take a plane somewhere or a train or whatever, and there's a lot of different steps before you get to the game, make sure you give yourself enough time between each step so that if anything goes wrong, for example, if the plane is late or whatever, that you're not going to get late for the next step. So I had a trip to Dublin, then the airplane, then the hotel, and then the stadium. So I had to make sure I had enough time between each of those steps to be sure I would be on time at the stadium. And everything went well, so plenty of time. Got early to the stadium, got to chat with a lot of the photographers that I've been messaging throughout the years, and it's nice to finally meet those people face to face. So that's one of the things I like the most, is when you actually get to meet other photographers. You share experiences, share tips. Most of those people had photographed Benfica games at home many times, so they would be able to share some of the experiences that I would not be familiar with because I had not been there to photograph a game yet. As for the positioning itself, like I said, I picked a spot and I decided to stay on that corner for both halves. Yes, I could have picked Benfica attacking both halves, but you know, they were playing against Barcelona. It's not just any team, so I wanted to be sure. No, I want to catch both teams attacking. That was a conscious decision. As luck would have it, the game had 9 goals, which was absolutely insane. But no luck in my part is that only 3 goals happened on my side and only 1 celebration near my corner. So there's nothing you can do about that because you cannot guess, and don't worry about the shots that you can't take. If it happens on the other side, so be it. Just be prepared to photograph the action that's near you. Even though I didn't take celebration shots that many near me, I think I was still able to tell the story of what happened during the game. Even though I just picked one side, you can still take good pictures. Yes, of course, we all want the money shots of the celebrations right in front of you, but if that's not possible, then just make the best with what you're given. As for the weather, that's something that I also looked into, so checking out the weather forecast, especially during the winter time, the likelihood of rain happening is high, so I was prepared. First half, it was just a little drizzle, nothing special, but on the second half, it was an absolute downpour. I mean, it was ridiculous. We even had lightning at some point. It's quite scary because you could see it and hear it. You know, the time between the lightning and the sound was quite short, so we knew it was close, but it only happened like twice or 3 times and then it went away. But the rain was just non-stopping. So I was prepared with the pants, with the jacket, obviously with the lens protections and all of that. And one advice I give to you is, even if you have a 400 where the hood is absolutely massive, if you catch rain like we did, it will hit the hood and it will ricochet back. So even though you think, oh no, the hood is long enough, there's no water going in some situations it will get in because it just ricochets back and goes to the lens. So every 5 minutes or so I would, you know, flip the lens towards me and I would wipe it because we don't want water in the lens element in front. So keep checking out your gear when you're shooting in the rain to make sure that it's completely wet. And needless to say, obviously once you're done with the game, make sure to have a towel and clean all the water from your gear. Dry it as much as you can. And if it's incredibly bad, then if you have a humidifier at home, they can dry up the gear even better. But yeah, be prepared for the weather, because you want to protect your gear at all costs. As for captioning the pictures, the preparation is also very important. Luckily in football, the squad numbers and names are set for the whole season. So unlike rugby, for example, or hurling or Gaelic games here in Ireland, where the numbers can change from game to game, in football, luckily, you know, the players are given a number for the season. So you can go to Google, for example, and search for football squads. Check the different leagues, click on the teams. You'll have a list of the names and numbers, so you can prepare your code replacements for the matches, so that when you're there, it just makes life so much easier. I've made some videos about code replacements in Photo Mechanic, but it helps a lot to be prepared, so that when you're capturing pictures, you can be just a lot more efficient. Now, from a fan standpoint, the game wasn't perfect, because in the end we lost in extra time. So the ref gave 4 additional minutes, and on minute 92 or 93, something like that, Benfica had a penalty that could have been given to us. It wasn't, and Barcelona on the attack scored, you know, as the curtain dropped. So they won 5-4. Very controversial scenes, but it's important to keep a cool head. You know, you're just photographing what's in front of you, even though it might hurt inside as a fan. As a photographer, just keep it cool and photograph what you see, and let the pictures speak for itself. Now, even though I have fulfilled my biggest dream ever in photography, which was photographing Benfica at home. And speaking of that, actually one more thing, because the stadium is called Estádio da Luz, which means Stadium of Light. The lighting was phenomenal. I mean, it was a night game, but the ISO was so low, so it did the name justice, Stadium of Light. It was just absolutely cool. But what I wanted to say is, even though I have fulfilled my dream, what I've realized is that, you know, I've climbed the highest mountain possible for me, but there's other mountains to climb. So even though you might reach your goal, try to enjoy, first of all, your journey to your goal, because I think every game, every frame, every picture, every experience along the way is extremely important until you get to your main objective, so to speak. But once you're there, don't think that, you know, everything's going to be downhill from here because you've done the one thing you wanted to the most. There's other mountains to climb. So there's always other objectives, other competitions, other clubs, other things to explore. But I think the most important thing is that you have fun as you're progressing towards your next goal. That's it, guys. I just wanted to share this experience with you guys, because it was a dream come true, literally. I think it was just phenomenal being there pitch side. I almost had to, you know, pinch myself to when I got to the stadium, saying I finally did it. You know, all of those hours, all of those games, all of those years, they finally paid off, because I'm here, and it felt like a dream. It went by really, really fast, obviously, but it's worth it. So if you have a dream, chase it, but enjoy all the steps until you get there. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Till next time, take it easy, guys. Stay safe.